He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we're back on Angry Mortgage.
I almost fucking wasn't.
We got a hell of a story for you folks. We really do have a hell of a story for you. Nat story. Anyway, Ron Butler, mortgage guy, and Nat Butler, realtor extraordinaire. But we're going to give over the top of the show to this unbelievable and strangely real estate related crazy town story that happened to Nat this week. Go away, Nat.
I think we can spin anything to a real estate story, though. We're pretty good at it.
Yeah, we are. You're right. We can turn anything into a real estate story.
Oh, geez, Louise. Yeah, no, I haven't slept really that well since Thursday.
Tell us what happened Thursday. Tell us what happened on Thursday.
About 4:30 in the morning. So I have these two little dogs. They're about this big. They sleep in my bed. They're pretty useless, but you know.
They're very good dogs. They're wonderful dogs.
They're beautiful dogs. I
Lady,
love my dog.
Lady and Duke.
We have Lady and Duke. Yeah. I know anytime that there's a squirrel in the yard, but sometimes when they're sleeping,
because they go crazy when there's a squirrel in the yard.
There's a squirrel. They go crazy. It takes them a crackhead touching the foot of my bed for them to go crazy in the middle of the night, though.
So, so just to clear up the story, here's you and Will sound asleep at 4:30 in the morning, and what happens?
Okay, so yeah, it's 4:30. The dogs start going crazy, and Will's sleeping, and I'm kind of in and out because they're going crazy, and he's like, all I hear is, "Hey, who are you?"
Oh, Christ.
And I'm like, what? And then I look up and I just see this figure. I'm like, it's just Evan, like my son. I go, it's just Evan. I'm like, babe, what do you need? I'm like, it's so late. And I hear this voice and it's not Evan.
It's not Evan at all. No,
not at all. So lights go on and there's this crazy crackhead. Have you ever seen the movie The Ring?
What, that's like The Grudge or something?
No,
the
it's
Ring,
The Ring.
The
we
Ring?
were calling
Okay,
it
all
The
right,
Grudge,
all
but
right.
it's actually
It's
The Ring. Somebody corrected me.
Yeah.
There's this girl with long dark hair. It's all in front of her face, soaking wet. It looked like she just had crawled out of my fucking TV, like the movie. It was insane.
Okay, so like, let's get it clear. This a woman is standing at the foot of your bed.
Yeah.
Talking to you.
Yeah.
But you don't know this woman. This woman is not your house guest.
We do
Nothing.
not know her.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So I'm like, what the fuck? So my first thought was I just screamed at Will. I said, where's Evan? Go get Evan. So Will goes running out of the room to
now
get
we got to
Evan.
do a little edit here.
What's that?
Because Will is naked in the beginning, right?
No, this was the first night that we both had pajamas on.
Oh, Jesus.
In like
Okay,
years,
all right.
I feel.
Okay, yeah.
Years. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe it because,
Yeah.
when I get further into the story, it's thank God I did have clothes on.
There you go, yeah.
So he goes running out of the room because that was my first thought, go get Evan. But now I'm alone in the room with this crackhead.
With this crackhead, yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
we don't actually know she's a crackhead, or we're pretty sure.
Listen, I've seen people drunk. I've seen people on drugs. I don't even think it was crack. I don't know what the fuck it was because this was a weird,
Well, yeah, it's
weird
as weird
experience.
as it gets. Yeah,
like I've
it's
never
really
seen
weird,
anything
yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
So my first thought is, so we have a long hallway on our second level, and then you go down the stairs, and the front door is right there. So I'm like, if I get her down this hallway and down the stairs, I can just push her out the front door.
Now, hold on a second.
We'll be
So
fine.
I got to ask this question because you seem to be thinking you could take control of this woman. So this was not some great big Amazon woman,
No,
right?
she was like late 20s, early 30s, but you could tell rode hard and put away wet.
But, okay, so you didn't say the see you next
Like-
Tuesday word, so we're okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's fine.
Like she was rough looking, but
Yeah.
like younger than me, maybe like 120 pounds.
All right,
I'm
all right.
bigger,
Yeah.
whatever.
You're bigger than her.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
And she wasn't like acting overly, well, she was aggressive. Like she kept telling me to go fuck myself, but then it was weird. So anyways, I'm walking her down the hallway. Like, I'm like, you gotta go. She's like, don't you remember me? I'm the queen. I'm like, no, your majesty.
Hold it.
I don't remember
She's
you.
the queen?
She's the queen.
Yeah.
No, your majesty. I do not remember you, but we're gonna go.
Jesus.
Anyways, we're like down the hallway, and then Evan's room is the first, like when you go up the stairs, is
Sure.
the first door.
Mhm.
At that point, she turns around, hits me in my face, and then goes to open Evan's door.
Whoa.
And I went
holy shit.
fucking crazy. Like, I think the mom in me just, like, I'm not a violent person, but the mom in me just snapped, and I beat the ever-living piss out of this person.
Oh, boy.
Got her down the stairs, and then now she's outside, and the cops came. The cops were there within 6.5 minutes.
Good.
From the time I called
good.
911 to the time she was out the door, they were there in 6.5 minutes, maybe 7. So that's good.
That's good.
So she was charged with breaking and entering and assault.
She swung first.
She did.
Yeah.
She did.
And like this is a scary thing, right?
It's terrifying. Like we joke about it now. We're like, oh, The Ring, da 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 da. It's kind of become like a production because I've told this story so many times now. Because nobody, it's unbelievable.
All right, so let's go back to why was she soaking wet?
Oh, so we pieced it all together afterwards because when she was in the cruiser, she told the police, but I'm staying here. This is my Airbnb. So they came back. They're like, was she staying here? Did you invite her to stay in your home? Is she an Airbnb guest? We're like, no. And then I went, oh my God, the house next door. So
next door is an Airbnb.
So we see people running in and out of there all the time, all hours. There's cars, this and that. We watch it. Like we're nosy neighbors too. We can watch it out our front window or whatever. And that's what we did. That's what we do. So we figure she was drinking or doing whatever in the basement at the neighbor's house, wandered out of the...
As an Airbnb guest.
Wandered out of wandered into... My backyard's beautiful. It's like set up and of course the lights are on. I'm sure it looked very inviting. We know she took
it's a nice pool.
Yeah, we know she took a dip in the pool because her socks were at the bottom of it.
Oh,
a
Jesus.
lighter.
Sorry, the socks were in the pool?
In the bottom in the morning.
In the bottom of the pool.
And the next morning when like the sunlight came up, we could see shrapnel at the bottom of the pool.
Oh my God.
And she was soaking, sobbing wet.
Yeah.
So I could tell exactly where she was in the house because there was wet, weird footprints everywhere. She was in every fucking room of my house.
Jesus Christ.
We think that she was just too fucked up and entered the wrong home. Like the doors were locked, but we have patio doors like that walk out to the pool.
Look, anybody can push in a door, right?
They're older doors. My basement's from the 70s. And if you just give it a good, it's going to open. Now, that's not an invitation for someone to come fucking break into my house for the 3rd time in 2 months because on Monday, I have the world's best security system being set up.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to own a gun.
So no, we're going to try to pause on the firearms. We're going to pause on the firearms a bit. You can think about it if you want. Free country, but we don't need to be Florida yet. Okay, we're going to start.
I want to move to Texas.
So you had the problem of a couple months ago, your car was stolen.
Yeah,
and they broke into your house. Okay,
so they came through the house.
The car thieves.
The car thieves, but the police said they were probably only in there for like maybe max 5 minutes because it's targeted. Because when you ask women, when I've asked people about the car situation, I'm like, when you go to bed, where's your purse? I'd say 8 out of 10 say on the kitchen counter or by the front door.
Even in our house, the purse sits in the kitchen,
something happens
kitchen area.
To you, now my purse is in my bedroom.
Yeah.
So they broke in again through the basement, and we know the door might have been unlocked because the pool was being opened or serviced that day, something like that. No, probably serviced because it was.
This is the day your car got stolen.
My car, and my purse was right like on the counter.
Kitchen.
So they came in, grabbed that, couple small electronics, and right out the door with my car.
Right.
So this is the second time in like 2 months.
Jesus. So. That's incredible. But it's a real estate show. It's a mortgage show.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the real estate mortgage aspect of this. Okay. So you have a person. You. By the way, folks, just so we set the stage properly, you live in a nice neighborhood.
I live in a very desirable neighborhood for Mississauga.
Because it's like, by the way, folks, in other provinces, Mississauga is just it's the huge city that's just attached to Toronto at the west.
We're
okay, that's
part of the
it is.
GTA, yeah. And like I am hop, skipping, and jump away from Lorne Park. Like we're in Clarkson technically, but we're like 2 seconds from Lorne
Bottom
Park.
line is, like, I'll just describe it to you. It's a nice house. It's not brand new. Okay.
No,
it's
like older.
50, 60-year-old home. But it's any other house. It's on the lake. Like you got to say
Well,
that.
we're
It's
on the
lake.
marsh, so at the end of our street, you can get to actually Rattray Marsh.
It's a conservation
do all the
area,
conservation
right? It's a
things.
conservation area. So
And
it's,
then in the winter, you can see the lake. So we're technically on the lake.
sure,
but
you
we're more so
have
on the
lake
marsh.
vision. That means you're on the lake,
Yeah, we have
right? You
lake
can
view.
see the lake,
Yeah.
and you say it's a conservation area. It's you're never gonna have a neighbor build a house there. It's a conservation area.
Yeah.
So it's a very sought after neighborhood, and nice home, and it's all single family. The whole area is single family, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. In this city of Mississauga, which again is just, it's a very integral part of the GTA. It's the largest city that touches on Toronto. I mean, you don't know the difference. When you drive between Toronto and GTA and Toronto and Mississauga, you can't even tell. Except for the sign, you couldn't even tell.
Yeah,
It's all
there's
just,
one side. Well, when you go down Lakeshore, they're like, "Welcome to Toronto." I'm like, "What?"
What? And, yeah, so it's all just one huge city. It's like LA. There's lots of different cities in LA, but it's all, you can't tell. You just drive and you're in a different place. And
Yeah.
it's all the same houses, businesses, whatever. So we're in a place where Airbnb, I checked the bylaw, Airbnb is illegal without a license.
You need a short-term rental license, which would never be issued on that side of Lakeshore. Is what I've been told.
Never been issued. Okay.
You
so,
can get Airbnbs in Mississauga, but certain areas, like you can't even park on the street in my area. That's
Right.
how strict they
Right,
are. There's
right.
no road parking. It's whatever you can fit in your driveway, that's it. And it's the fines for parking on the street are more. It's anything that side of Lakeshore. Like they're just very strict about.
okay, so
It's almost like a neighborhood association without a neighborhood association.
the homeowner association
Yeah.
in the States. Yeah,
Yeah.
I got you. So what we got to think about here and how this relates to real estate and mortgages is it's illegal. You can't take a single family house, chop it up into suites, and rent it out as an illegal hotel room. Because folks,
Because that's called a rooming house.
that's
and
a rooming
Good
house,
luck
yeah. So-
with your insurance.
so let's just examine this whole question. Okay, so you've got, because it is, although scary as hell, okay, this was obviously scary as hell when it
It was
happened. okay?
traumatizing. I'm concerned for my son.
Absolutely. So it's scary as hell. And, when I posted this on Twitter earlier in the week, there's a lot of, certain people came back and said, oh, well, that could happen anywhere, anytime.
No,
No,
but it
it
shouldn't.
can't. It can't. It can't. It doesn't. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, sure. And one guy had the brilliant notion on Twitter to say, yeah, I used to live right next to the university, York University, and crazy shit happened all the time. Yeah, if you live next to the goddamn university,
Yeah,
that crazy shit happens.
that's a
Okay,
given.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Listen,
so
we're in a residential neighborhood.
Very residential.
Very extremely. And it shouldn't, like, we're not in a destination, like, there's certain destination places. Like, I use Collingwood as an example, or Wasaga Beach. But, like, it's a touristy place. People there make money off the tourists. It benefits everyone. That's where Airbnb should be. Not in a residential neighborhood that's just old people and children.
Okay, that's a great point, and let's break it down. So we have no opposition to short-term rental in traditional vacation areas.
Listen,
Like,
I'm
nothing.
a realtor. I love when people want a second home or a vacation home or investment property. Love it.
But
Make a
here's-
living off of it.
But
I'm not
here's-
opposed.
Here's the deal. So it's got to be rational. So what's rational for short-term rental? Obviously, every one of these ski chalet places, it's perfectly rational, right?
Yeah.
That's perfectly sensible.
Because the
okay?
community that surrounds it makes their money primarily on the tourists.
And it's a
beneficial
goddamn
to
ski
everyone.
slope, okay?
Yeah.
It's a ski slope, for Christ's sakes. I mean, like, you might say, well, no, we need nothing but single family right next to the mountain. No, that's crazy. I mean, like, it's been decades and decades of people renting out these ski chalets, okay? Whether it's condo ski chalet, like they built a bunch of condos for people who want to ski, or whether it's a single family or whatever it is, or townhouses. But if it's right next to the mountain, you're probably going to rent it out short term, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Okay, not a goddamn thing. So fine for Airbnb for ski chalet. Cottages. Hey, cottages have been
100%.
in Ontario and British Columbia. Well, it's a little different in British Columbia. It's like they often have like vacation homes on islands and the Gulf Islands and in other places, and some of them
Well,
in the
it's prominent
interior.
in PI, Nova Scotia.
And all that too. But it's vacation homes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where there's a fucking ocean.
Yeah, or there's a lake, or there's a whatever. Okay, there's a destination that's associated with a season.
Yeah.
Okay, and in Ontario, I'm telling you, people have been doing short-term rentals on their cottages in Ontario, up in cottage country, for maybe 80 years now. Okay, like it's forever. Okay, so let's not say that there's anything wrong with Airbnb or Vrbo in a vacation home. There's not. But let's talk about the real horror show of randomly turning a house into an illegal hotel room or a rooming house.
The people that you get in a short-term, especially short-term rental in a residential area, and I'm sorry to say, and maybe take some heat for this, they can't get a traditional apartment.
Yep.
They've just been recently kicked out of somewhere, and if the only place you have to turn to is an Airbnb, you either have no friends and family in the area or you fucked people pretty bad in your life. No?
Well, I'm not fighting that, but more to the point.
Yeah.
It's a whole realm of foolishness. Let's think about it for a second. Let's go to the most popular form of Airbnb in Vancouver and Toronto and Calgary and Montreal. By the way, Montreal just put up the whole province got pissed off. These people got killed in a fire, okay? There was a fire in a complex in Montreal, bordering on old Montreal, and nobody could figure out where all these poor victims were because it was a goddamn Airbnb in an area where it's against the law to do Airbnb.
Yeah.
Okay. And the province, they thank you, Quebec, for doing something smart. The province lost their shit and said, fuck, we're going to fine the shit out of you. We're going to make this illegal. We're going to do $50,000, $250,000 fines. You got to stop doing this shit. If we say the area is not for short-term rental, then don't do short-term rental or we're going to clobber you. Okay. And why? The big why. So here, we take the Quebec incident, for example. Your incident is very poignant, and Quebec is super poignant because people lost their lives because it was improperly. There was improper smoke alarms. Mm-hmm. There was more people in the unit than there possibly should have been. Mm-hmm. There was no way to figure out who the hell was living there because there was a landlord. But it was a landlord, but it wasn't a landlord. They were saying they lived there. Okay. So when the cops went out and tried to find the people who, hey, here's the people, it shows that they are living here, but they're not living here. They're somewhere else and they're short-term renting it and nobody can figure out who these poor victims are. Okay. Horrible. All horrible. Okay.
No, there's no one there maintaining the property. And that is a rule with Airbnb, especially in residential neighborhoods. You have to be physically living on site. But I'm sorry, it's a fucking lie because I still haven't seen my neighbor's face. I still haven't seen her face. She's like, oh, no, I'm home. I'm just in a work meeting.
Yeah, when you tried to contact her about this incident, she put up some kind of bullshit story, right?
Oh, she's like, I'm just like, I went and knocked on her door.
You went pounding on the door, yeah.
Not pounding, nicely.
You wanted to be found. You wanted to talk to her. Okay.
I needed to talk to her. Well, she should know. Well, I guess she did know already, but I don't know. She's like, I'm just in a work meeting. So now it's all over text, not even phone call.
You hit her ring, so she saw it when you rang.
So she sees that I'm at the door.
She sees that you're at the door, right?
And now that I'm thinking about it, I still haven't seen her face. If I was renting out my basement and some crackerjack broke into my neighbor's house and terrorized them in the middle of the night, I'm at least bringing over a bottle of wine, no?
Or you're doing something like some kind of apology, for God's sakes. Yes,
and saying, of course. Hey, are you okay? And now it's just dawned on me, I haven't seen her face, and I haven't seen her face in a long time. So is she in the country?
And you have seen the people coming in and out of the house like crazy.
Revolving door.
All right. So let's get
the one creepy guy was in the bushes.
Oh boy. Oh,
yeah, that's
Jesus
another
Christ.
story about this Airbnb.
All right.
Jesus.
So let's nail this all down so we make sure that nobody misunderstands. Like you and I have no problem with renting out a room Airbnb in your house. Like if you're there to supervise, you're right there
and
to supervise.
Taking responsibility for it, do you?
Which is, by the way, how Airbnb was supposed to be the whole goddamn time from the day it started. Okay, so now let's go on. Vacation homes. We got no problem with the ski chalet, with the cottage on the lake. We got no trouble with that. Okay.
No, of course.
No, because let's face it, even in a residential, on the lake, everybody on the lake understands that sometimes there's a whole mass of people come visiting to the cottage, and maybe it's a little loud or whatever the hell, but that's the way it goes. Okay. Yeah. And so there's not a lot. That's not our fight. Our fight is that what Airbnb has become is illegal hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Okay? Or worse, in your case, an illegal rooming house.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is all fucking wrong. Yeah. That's it. Okay. Now, set aside your horrible experience. We got people who live in condo towers downtown where there's some people who are long-term renters, but 3/4 of the building is short-term renters. And as a friend of ours said who lives in one of those, there's some specific buildings. Like there's buildings that are very close to sporting venues, like downtown Toronto, sporting venues, entertainment districts.
Yeah,
where
Will's best friend lives in one of those buildings.
and as Will's friend said to me the other day when we talked about this, he says it's also a part-time brothel. Okay, because I'm living there full time, going upstairs with my young son, and there's a woman or two women get on to the elevator that are essentially dressed in some form of a bikini. Okay, in the middle of the winter, and my kid's looking at them, I'm looking at them, and I'm not trying to be a bad person here, but I think I know what's going on here. Okay, because let's face it, what's a short-term rental all about? What is an illegal hotel room all about? Well, there's a reason that we invented hotels 6,000 years ago in Egypt, okay? Because people want a place to stay temporarily. Either they're traveling, okay, or they're partying, because some of these units are used as sort of frat houses, like all of a sudden when it's the end of the year and it's graduation, the use of these Airbnbs just spikes downtown, and people are just going partying in them.
Because you don't have to check in with your ID.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's checking this.
Bingo.
Nobody's checking. I guess you have to show. Somebody told me that when you check into an Airbnb, they usually have those cameras, like the doorbell cameras.
Yeah.
Here's my ID, here's my face, and they like allow entry or something.
Right,
like
but they don't care about the ages.
I don't know.
Particularly, okay?
But
once you're in, look, here, let's just cut to the chase here, folks. A hotel is a hotel for a reason.
Yeah.
There's management of a hotel. There's security in a hotel. There's cameras everywhere in a hotel. If somebody's going nuts in the room next to yours, you can phone down to management. They'll send security up to talk to the people going nuts in the room next to you and say, you got to hold this thing down, dude. I mean, like, there's real management. There is no goddamn management of Airbnb. Hence your story. Okay?
Yeah.
That this woman who isn't even living there in a single family home that she's converted to some version of a rooming house, and there's a bunch of nut bars running around there.
Well, and I can even feel bad for the person that broke into my house now at this point. She was clearly messed up.
Yeah.
Clearly has issues.
Yep.
She wandered into the wrong house.
To go in the swimming pool.
I can't excuse it. There's no excuse for it. But had she been at a traditional hotel, somebody would have noticed something.
Yeah, there's cameras and there is security people.
She's all by herself, clearly with a mental situation going on to get that messed up on a Wednesday night.
Yeah, on a Wednesday night. Yeah.
So, but if she was in a traditional hotel, there would have been maybe some other resources for her. Maybe not.
There absolutely will be other resources for it, because when one other response I had on social media to this whole incident was a bunch of people who worked in hotels their whole life saying, yeah, we manage this in hotels every night. We manage this problem. We know what to do. We're trained to handle it. We know how to approach it. We know, and we have cameras to see it before it ever happens.
Trained to have it. Trained to handle it. That's an interesting point. Because I'm not trained to handle it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I ended up in a physical altercation, probably one of the worst and first of my life.
There you go. So let's just hammer down on this whole issue. We are not against the original intent of Airbnb, which was to rent out a room in your house. We are not against Vrbo and Airbnb, who are renting out, who are doing short-term rentals in specific holiday vacation areas. But we are sure as shit against it in what is effectively an illegal hotel room or an illegal rooming house. Okay.
What it should technically be is convert it properly into a unit, do all the right steps, and get someone in there long term. Because at the end of the day, you're going to make more money doing that. There's less of a risk for your neighbors. Like, I don't care. Have a rental in your basement and do all the right things that make that okay.
Make it okay. Get the license. Do everything correctly.
But when you have a revolving door in a residential neighborhood that has, there's no tourism in this neighborhood. It's the only person it's benefiting is you, and it really is it. Because you have a revolving door, you don't know who's
I-
coming in and out, and you're putting your neighbors at risk.
I'm told by the landlords who because we're going to get all kinds of comments on that. Here's the crazy comments we're going to get about this through social media. We're going to get the comment is, "You're a communist. You're a fucking fat communist. If we own a house, we should be able to do whatever the fuck we want in it." No, asshole. No.
You're part of a neighborhood.
You're part of a community. Okay. There's zoning because people with like-minded people got together and said, we just want to live in a quiet residential neighborhood to raise our kids.
Yeah.
And that was everybody. By the way, people have been agreeing to this idea for about, again, 6,000 years. Okay. Like there's not, you can't open a fucking funeral home in your house. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have total control of your property. You have to obey community standards. By the way, we're going to talk about NIMBYism in a second, because NIMBY all wrong, but there's nothing wrong with zoning. There's nothing wrong with community standards. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. And this goddamn Airbnb is mainly a system for illegal hotel rooms and illegal rooming houses to flourish. That's what it is. And that ain't any goddamn good. It's against the law. And it's also, here's where we come back to the mortgage business. It's also against mortgage policy, too.
Well, it is.
Absolutely. So here's how it works, folks. If you declare a property a rental, you have slightly different rates and definitely different underwriting in most cases in the bank's approach to giving you a mortgage on your rental.
Not to mention insurance.
Not to mention insurance. And by the way, there's no house insurance for a rooming house. I mean, unless you have a license. So you're essentially working with the wrong insurance if you're doing this Airbnb. Okay.
If something happens to your house, you're screwed. You're not getting a fucking penny.
Well, I don't know all those answers, but
No,
I mean,
not.
it's definitely a lie. It's a fucking lie. Okay.
The insurance company will use any reason not to pay you.
Yeah, if you're operating an illegal hotel room, I would just suggest that that's something the insurance company will not favor.
No.
Okay, and more to the point, the mortgage company, they're not interested in this short-term rental stuff because the bank says, well, wait a minute, you have no way to really prove the income. The income could be radically different if you're renting out a property by the night. You are a hotel, and this is a commercial mortgage, but sure as shit isn't a residential mortgage. Oh, and by the way, it would appear you're doing this thing illegally.
Yeah.
Okay, like renting out a place by the night that's in zoned residential, residential rental. Sure, you can have a rental in your condo tower, long-term rental. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay,
If your condo building allows it, some don't.
Well, I think that's hard to do. But anyway, but you're right. Like, it's just, look, let's just. And all you people out there who want to start screaming, no, you're a communist, it's free enterprise. If you own the property, you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. No, fuck you all. Everybody who says that, you're fucking wrong, okay? It's a community. People have agreed to community standards. Again, I'm going to get to NIMBY in a minute. But, if you bought a condo unit with the intention of living there, and all of a sudden you find out a year later that the Airbnb is so rampant in your building that at the end of every Monday or every Sunday after party time, Friday and Saturday night, that you've got vomit in the hallways, you've got just a completely trashed building because it's just been party central and all hell's breaking loose. I mean, wouldn't you feel fucked over?
Yeah.
Like, you bought that place in good faith, thinking it's going to be and by the way, nobody's mad at long-term renters. Absolutely not. Okay. People need someplace to live. You sign a year's lease. You're a long-term renter. You're committed to being there. You're part of the community. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're a hotel, remember why they invented hotels? For people who are running in and out. Okay. That's why they invented hotels, for people who are only going to be there a very short time. And let's face it, there's a reason why there's more hotel rooms in Vegas than any place else in North America. And there's also a reason why we say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Because all hell breaks loose in Vegas, okay? Like, all hell breaks loose. It's crazy town, all right? And do you want your home to be a version of Vegas, okay? No, you don't, all right? So, Airbnb in residential neighborhoods illegally, totally against the law, fuck you all.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a bad, bad thing, and we need to call it out. Now, that brings us to NIMBY. You also have some prime example. By the way, what's NIMBY? I usually get this wrong all the time, but I believe it's not in my backyard. That's
Yeah.
what NIMBY is, not in my backyard. So the concept is simple, that once we buy the house and we live in the house for a little while, we live in our neighborhood, we don't want one single thing to change in our neighborhood. We don't want anything to change. We don't want anything to change even in far away from us in our neighborhood. We want everything to stay exactly the same as it was. Like, we don't want you to build a school in the neighborhood. We don't want you to change any of the single family to a semi. We don't want any changes. We just don't want any change. And that's because we bought it, and now we got it, and now we want it to stay exactly the same. Okay, I understand that sentiment. But folks, the world changes. Okay, things change.
Yeah.
And right now we're faced with a dire housing crisis in Canada, extra dire in Greater Vancouver area and in the GTA and all of southwestern Ontario. Dire, like goddamn dire, like rents up 25% in a year kind of dire, okay? Like just horrible situations. We won't go into all the different reasons and who's to blame, but let's just say this. The growth in immigration, we come back to immigration, it's 1 million people a year. So the growth of these areas requires more housing, and we build actually less new homes every year. It's that crazy. We build less new homes every year, and we certainly build enormously less single family and semis every year. Like low rise. We build enormously less low rise every single year. Crazy. Like if you start to do some analysis, you look at the housing starts in 2022 in the GTA. I think 80% of them were high rise.
Yeah.
Okay, so so what does that mean? It means that eventually and soon and quickly, we're going to have to put more semis and triplexes into single family areas. And by the way, the city council in Toronto, voted to upzone the entire city. But there's a little bit of a cheat there, because they also knew, even though they upzoned the city to say that you can build up to 5 units on a single family lot, they also know that the people who actually approve the permits are going to fight it like crazy. So take an example from your neighborhood about what happened just around the corner from you.
Oh yeah, that house. Yeah, this poor guy. He's been trying to build there since we moved in. It's been just an old abandoned
So it's
house.
almost going on 3 years.
Oh, we've been there longer than that.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe 4.
Okay.
I can't remember. Yeah, I just can't think clearly. Haven't been sleeping well.
So there was a lot that was empty and had a construction fence around it forever.
Well,
right?
no, there was an old house there. They just recently ripped the house down.
Ripped it down.
Like,
but it was abandoned, abandoned home.
Abandoned, shuttered, everything else. Trying to build there, kept getting shut down because, if the house is this tall, it blocks this person's sunlight, or if it's
so the neighbors were shutting it down.
Always a petition going around. Nope, we're not approving that. Just finally, last week, they finally have the new house framed up. It's going to be interesting what he ended up with, actually.
So it took years because...
It's 4 to 5 years.
And by the way, do you want to know what's crazy about this? This is an actual single family home.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to build a single family home, the neighborhood took this person to task through the city council, and this, by the way, this is an old house. This is like a 65, 70-year-old house.
Oh, yeah, no, it was gross.
Yeah, it was not the most beautiful home in the world, but I drove past it. It was abandoned for years. And yeah, but here's the thing. You can upzone a neighborhood, but then if the neighbors fight through City Hall to make sure you don't build anything, then I guess you don't build anything, okay?
Well, because it changes the dynamics. If you've got all single-family homes, and then you build a quad or triplex.
Fair, but there's no reason we shouldn't be building duplexes and triplexes on big lots if we're selling them, okay? Because that's just going to mean that there's more people on the same lot, okay? That they're going to have pride in ownership, because let's face it, we got semis that we drive by every day. People are taking beautiful care of these semis.
Oh my God,
okay?
yeah.
And that's just basically putting more families on one lot who own homes.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nobody should object to it. But we've got, and I come back to my old story of the people who, in my neighborhood, the people who wanted to fight the idea of putting up a small condo building on a corner of land that actually mainly faces a highway. Okay,
It's surrounded on
all sides by street, by two sides by
highway.
street, and there's only 2 houses that are affected.
Yeah.
And the people in the neighborhood just fought it like banshees for
Yeah.
years because, hey, we don't want to change anything. We don't. Oh, and by the way, we feel to be too noisy, folks. It's a highway. It's a huge highway. You can't miss it. Like, it's impossible to miss it. When you're gonna pick out a fucking unit in that building, you can't miss it. You're buying next to the highway, okay? So how the hell can you say, oh, we're saving the people from themselves? The NIMBY fuckers say, we're going to save them from, they may not know it's going to be noisy. No, fuck you, crazy NIMBYs. It's going to be, you got to be like a lunatic not to understand it's going to be noisy. There's a highway there, okay?
Yeah.
So it's just lies. It's lies piled on top of lies.
What are they building there now?
Oh, they're trying to build this, still trying to build the condo. But hey, by the way, folks, that's another piece of land that's been unused, zoned for residential, untouched for, I'm going to think 9 years. Okay.
At least.
So we can't build in the GTA. We can't build in Greater Vancouver because nobody will let you build. Okay. It's as simple as that. The red tape, the bullshit, the NIMBYism, not in my neighborhood. I just read the other day that there was people were fighting in Toronto an 8-child daycare in their neighborhood. Yeah, no bullshit. They do. We don't want it. It's going to be too much. It's going to be too much traffic when they come to pick up their kids. Like, fuck you all. Okay. Like, seriously, you don't want people even to have kids. You're such crazy NIMBYs that you say, well, no, it's going to be a little too much. And the kids might be loud. They're little tiny kids. Yeah, come on. What the hell's wrong with you? Okay, if you're in a daycare, by definition, every kid is younger than 5. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, like, I can't believe how crazy this shit is.
People can't handle the sound of joy.
Yeah, people can't handle I think there's going to be, it's going to be too busy when they come to pick up their kids. I mean, it might interfere with my moving my car for something like 12 or 13 seconds, and I can't handle that. No, fuck you all, okay? Fuck all you NIMBYs. Fuck you into the ground. It's all wrong. We can't, we just have to build in a proper manner, but we can't say that we're going to build nothing. Like, you can't say that your neighborhood is frozen in time.
No.
Like, you can't say that you're on a 60-foot lot, because there's some big lots in your neighborhood, big frontage,
yeah.
okay? So in my neighborhood, same, huge frontage in some of them, like there's like 55-foot lots. I mean, you can't say that you can't build semis on a 55-foot lot.
Because I think it's like when people visualize semis, when they're first coming out, like from the realtor's perspective, they weren't as appealing to the eye. They're really doing some nice jobs with the semis where it looks like one solid house. And you've got 2, if not 3 sometimes.
Absolutely.
That the neighborhoods would sign off on if it's like aesthetically pleasing, suits the neighborhood. Like, you're not just putting a box. You know what I mean?
We've seen it. Like, I'm agreeing with you 1,000%. I've driven by something that I have to discover later as a semi because I just think it's a great looking house.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, but God damn it, it allows us to put people into, like, families into a neighborhood.
That's not a 600 square foot condo.
Yeah, we got to be rational about this, okay? We just have to be smart about what we're doing, okay? Yeah. Now, which is, look, we talk about this stuff, and there's always a lot of controversy because people are so attached to their own homes and where they live and what their house, what their neighbors should be and all that stuff. And I have some sympathy for that. But folks, life is changing. Okay. You can't have the way we're going, everything is like to build a house in Greater Vancouver, right even out into the Fraser Valley. We're looking at all these single-family homes cruising past $2 million. Same thing we see here. Like, I remember we got these houses that they're burning down in Kleinburg. Like, somehow new construction is getting burnt down in Burlington and Kleinburg. I don't know why. That's suburbs of the GTA. It's a dry summer. We know there's a lot of forest fires and bad things going on, and we're very sorry for it. But there's some arson going on too. Okay. So I don't even understand that part. But the interesting thing that I noticed is when they talked about these properties, the average price of the house, this new construction home that's going up, was $2 million. Okay. Like, what the hell is going on here? Okay, is that the only single-family homes we're building in the GTA and in the close proximity of Vancouver? Like, everything starts at $2 million? I mean, sweet Jesus, okay? Like, we gotta have, like you said, beautifully architecturally designed, multiple family units, okay, that are pleasing to the eye, that fit into the neighborhood, and that house more people at rational prices, okay? We just got to do that.
Because the reason why the neighbors fight it is because or if you think of like apartments and stuff, like the old school ones were just a box.
Yeah, no, we know those. We know those. Yeah.
We've come a long way since there.
Long
so there's a ways that we can fill these lots, get more people homes, and still make the neighbors happy.
100%. But the neighbors just won't listen. The NIMBY, the concept of NIMBY is not in my backyard. Like, I don't want anything changed. Like, nothing. Don't do a thing. Everything has to stay exactly as it is, frozen in time. We just can't do that.
No.
Okay, we can't do that. Which brings us to our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck? I'm not even going to sing it today because I'm tired and I'm frustrated and I'm fucking mad.
So, what the actual fuck is going on with our inability to address any of these crucial housing issues? Like, I am getting so sick of this. I think the public is getting so fucking sick of this. Like, we have politicians talk about it, and I'm not even being specific about any politicians, okay? Like, there's federal politicians, there's provincial politicians, there's local mayors and council people, and everybody, boo-hoo-hoo, there's a housing crisis. Oh, we got to do this, we're going to do that. We got a brilliant program here. We got a great program over here. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're committed. And they've been saying for all these fucking years, for a decade or more, that they're going to build all these new homes, and they're not getting built. There's fewer housing starts this year than like CMHC just announced last week. Oh yeah, housing starts are down 10%. Oh, a fucking million people coming in, and housing starts are down 10% across the whole goddamn country. And by the way, a lot of that's rate related. Okay, you got to finance a goddamn new subdivision. You got to finance a condo tower.
Yeah,
you got. Oh, and what was it? What was the financing about 3 years ago? Oh, yeah, that financing was about 3%, maybe less. Oh, what is it today? Oh, it's 8%, maybe more. What the fuck? Okay, like folks, it's just not sensible, okay? Like, it's not sensible to think that a developer who's going to build a tower has to say to themselves, well, construction costs are way up. The fucking price of the land is through the roof. Now the financing's gone batshit crazy, okay? And I gotta if I'm building a condo tower, that's a 5-year project, for Christ's sakes, okay? I'm gonna finance this over 5 years at these incredible, like, oh well, we're gonna hear this in social media too. Oh well, when I bought my first house, the mortgage was 18%. Like, fuck you, geezer, okay? Like, I mean, your house cost $189,000, $159,000, if that, okay? Like, it's a different fucking time, okay? Quit saying that shit about 18% mortgage rates. It's meaningless when the house, perfect example, people who bought homes, single-family homes, in 1995 and 96 for $250,000, big homes, big lots, 50-foot lots in suburbs of Toronto for $250,000, $250,000, okay? They're now worth $2 million. For the love of Christ.
If not more.
Nothing's gone up that fast, for Christ's sakes. I mean, don't be silly.
Afford that $250,000 on one income.
Absolutely. Now, this is how crazy. So,
not both people were working.
Let me get off this. I don't want to talk about the crazy house price increases, but let's just face facts. I mean, if you're all levels of government in this country, and you want to make these promises about building these homes, when you actually see there's less being built, okay, that's an incredible fuck you all, okay? Yeah. Like, if you can't get together, call a meeting, make this just take it seriously. Just don't lie. Just don't say, oh yes, we're going to fix this. No, you're not. You're not fixing fuck all. There's going to be less houses built, less places to live built in Canada. This year, there were fewer. 2021 was the apex. There was less built in 2022, There's going to be less built in 2023. There's going to be less built next year, for the love of Christ, because it doesn't look like these rates are coming down anytime soon.
No.
And it doesn't look like the price of land is falling hand over fist in the important regions of Canada where half the people live. So, hey, wake up. I mean, it's not just that it's getting serious. It's really fucking serious right now.
It is.
Excuse me. And it's really, really fucking serious. And this is the wild part. It's getting worse. And it takes years to fix. Like, you just can't, it's not like CERB where you just start sending the money out.
No.
Okay. It's just like our reaction to COVID is CERB. People are out of work. We're going to send $2,000 in millions and millions of people's bank accounts every month. And we're going to save the country. Yes. Thank you. Yes. It was a good thing. Okay.
And then we're going to violently claw it back.
Now we're going to violently claw back every fucking penny we gave you. But hey, let's look at this realistically. You can't do that with housing.
No.
Housing takes time. It takes from 2 years. But we aren't even going to get into the bullshit of just getting a subdivision approved, which is like 6 years. But just if you actually can sell the property pre-construction and start building, it's like a year, 18 months. Sometimes if there's delays, it's almost 2 years. And for a condo tower, it's like 6 years. Again, we're talking about when the first backhoe starts digging, okay? Yeah. It's 5 or 6 years in a lot of cases. And we're building fewer of them, okay? Like, and it's nothing you can fix. If you don't feel that it's an urgent crisis and an emergency and just a desperate problem, if all you government people can't figure that out, it's unmanageable because it takes time to build these things, and we're not building them. We're building less, and the people are coming. 1 million this year. The new immigration minister said just last week, we have no intention of reducing immigration at all. Period. Okay, none, zero.
It's a lot of people.
None, no intentions. Our position is firm. We will bring in permanent residents. We're committed to 500,000 a year, and then there's the student visas, and there's the temporary workers, adds up to 1 million typically most years. So what the actual fuck? It's getting worse. It's a crisis, and it takes years to fix, and we haven't started yet. So on that happy note, till next week, thank you for joining us.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.